why throw this deal out? I mean, I know you had until the end of the month, and you just mentioned that you didn't think it was going to be viable long term, and then why, spend all, and I know how much time you and Brian and ownership, I know how much time you guys put into this, and basically you're telling us you didn't think over the long term it was going to be viable, then why do it in the first place?
Well, we did have that belief and that conviction prior to the hurricanes. And, look, it's unfortunate that the hurricanes hit and there was a series of events afterwards that put us to where we are today. It was never one of those slam dunk deals for us. And it was something that we said all along, it was a stretch. It was a stretch to make this work, but we felt like we had the wind at our back, that we felt like we had great, strong partnerships with the city and the county, and that with that as the foundation, we could figure this out. And post-hurricanes and post-October after the delay, a lot of those conditions changed. And certainly the cost side of the equation changed. And we had to look at it a little bit more with a calculating eye. And it just didn't pencil out. We just didn't have the same conviction that we had before. And the last thing we can afford to do is make a 30-year mistake for our community, for our organization, and for Major League Baseball. And so to us, this is not closing a door. It's not saying that this is done. It's saying at this moment we can't go forward with this project. But already there have been productive conversations with local politicians, with business leaders. There's a lot of energy to get back re-engaged and figure out an answer, because we were close. We are close, and I know we're going to figure this out.
Race President Matt Silverman is with me. So it sounds like you guys put so many hours into this, and then you put the deal out there, and then maybe after the fact that maybe the Hurricanes didn't have something to do with it. Is this a case of buyer's remorse? That does happen in business circles, Matt, from time to time, as you know. Is that what we're talking about here?
No, if it's buyer's remorse, we'd say it's buyer's remorse. This was a cascade of events started by hurricanes, and it just kept piling on and made it harder and harder to do. And look, the path of least resistance is just to cross your fingers and plow ahead and hope it works. And that would be a popular decision, at least among a lot of Rays fans. But there's too great a chance that it results in something that we all regret a few years from now. And I think you're going back even the last 17, 18 years as we've been working on trying to build a stadium in Tampa Bay and keep this team here for generations. We've had a high standard for what is going to work for the Rays, because we need it to work for the Rays. And if it doesn't work for us, if it doesn't allow us to jump up towards the middle of the pack in baseball and to run higher payrolls and be competitive, then it doesn't work for anyone. And so we're maintaining that high standard. And when we looked at this deal and we looked at what happened, it just didn't meet those standards anymore. And we looked to the city and the county, and we will continue to look to the city and the county for those conversations and see how we can re-engage and see if there's a solution here, because we were close. But when we're sitting here around the table and trying to figure it out, we just don't have the conviction necessary to go forward.
You mentioned you've had talks with the city and the county and some people today. As you might imagine, I'm sure you're aware of the backlash, not just from the fans, but from the elected officials. St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch told the Tampa Bay Times, "I have no interest in working with this ownership group. That bridge has been burned." Did you talk to Mayor Welch today?
I know that Stu and Mayor Welch had a conversation. I did not connect with the mayor today. Look, the emotions are raw on all sides. We were hopeful that we get past opening day and some of those raw emotions may die down a little bit, and we can have some measured conversations and continue the conversation and see if there's a path forward here. We're gonna find a solution here in Tampa Bay. We're gonna build a stadium in Tampa Bay. It might be on the Pinellas side. It might be on the Hillsborough side. We're gonna figure this out. And I think we just need to take a quick breath. We all, as a community, take a breath, get to opening day, celebrate baseball, outdoor baseball, get this season started. It's going to be a great season, and then use that energy and momentum and excitement to restart the conversations and see what we can put together.
Because of everything that has happened, is your boss, Stu Sternberg, does he have any financial difficulties right now? And maybe that played into why you didn't think this deal was worth pursuing. Is Stu having money problems?
I've been asked that question a couple times by different media outlets, and the answer is always the same. This is not a financial issue. This is an issue of using those dollars for the right decision. One of the first things we did right after the hurricanes hit, we had a meeting with the city, and we talked about how Goldman Sachs had reiterated its commitment to this project, to fund this project, even after the hurricanes. The money hasn't been the question. It's always been about, what does this look like 5, 10, 15 years from now? Is this the right decision? And unfortunately, what's happened since the hurricanes and since October has changed that calculus.
I'm just trying to figure out what changed your mind or what changed Stu's mind, because you got into this agreement and you guys seemed very happy last summer when the initial vote came through, and now it seems like you're kind of pulling back a little bit. Is it because of something else that might be going on, Matt, that we don't know about?
I see where you're going with that, and I'll come back to it. But no, this is really about what happens when the project gets rolled forward to 2029 and how much more expensive it gets. And we know it gets more expensive. There's no exact dollar number, but it's significant. And when you add that into everything else that's gone on with our business, when you look at ongoing insurance costs, when you look at insurance costs for building the stadium, all of these things add up and took what is it was a deal that our heart was leading. And it was one that we said throughout the negotiations and throughout the approval process, we were stretching. We were stretching beyond our comfort zone to make this happen. And when you do that, there's very little margin for error, and there's very little margin to move. And that's what happened, is we got past that margin, and we got to a point of discomfort where the heart could no longer win out over what we thought were just the pure calculus of this. And it's not fun to look at it through that lens. And I'd love to just say, let's lead with our heart and let's build this project in St. Petersburg, and it'll be a transformative project, and it might be, but this is a very big business decision for us, for our community. It involves billions of dollars, and it's just not one that we have the needed confidence in right now. As I said earlier, the easy decision is just to plow ahead and hope it works, but that's not the right decision for the sport, and we're going to end up finding a solution that's going to work better for our area. And if it works for our area, it's going to work for the league.
Well, it sounds like you guys had second thoughts about that deal, and it's certainly interesting. And I'm sure you've seen the fan backlash today. A lot of fans are upset. How do you respond to that?
Well, in a way, I appreciate and I'm glad that there's that emotion, and there is a strong bond between our fans and this team, and that goes past whoever is the owner of the club or who the executives are of the club are. That's a relationship between a fan and their team, and that lasts for decades and hopefully for generations. And so I understand that anger. I understand the frustration. And we ask our fans to stick with us. The one thing that we have been for the last 20 years in running this club is focused on making it work here in Tampa Bay. And I think Stu gets a bad rap because he is the one guy for the last 20 years who has defended Tampa Bay, who has stood up for this market, who says we need to figure something out here. And even the Montreal plan, which, we can all argue about, was about keeping the team in Tampa Bay. And when that failed, we didn't know what the next solution might be. And we were skeptical that we could figure something out. And we came up with something that almost got to the finish line. And because that happened, I have more confidence that we're going to get to the finish line. We're going to find that solution that gets us that new ballpark, and that all of our fans can celebrate and everyone can breathe a sigh of relief that this team is here for the next 30 years, 50 years, 70 years.
Silverman is with me, race team president. I certainly appreciate, a lot of your time here. I know these are tough questions, and, to the naked eye, and I came on the air and I mentioned this, Matt, it's been 4 projects now that have gone south, 4 failed stadium projects. So a lot of people are exasperated. I know I am. I know probably you are about that too. What's the next step here?
The next step is for us all to take a deep breath and recognize we have at least 4 years to figure this out. We're going to be in Steinbrenner this year, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be different. I hope we are playing World Series games in front of the smallest crowds in recent baseball history. And then after that, we're going to come back to Tropicana Field when the city of St. Petersburg gets the Trop up and running, and hopefully that's opening day 2026. We have 3 years left on the use agreement, and so that's good news, that we don't have to worry about the team going anywhere. We don't have to worry about the team being out of the market. We have a place to play, and we have the foundation to be able to figure out a community solution. It might be on the Pinellas side. Who knows? Maybe it's on the Hillsborough side. Those are the conversations that'll kick up starting maybe next month, month after that, after we've taken that breath. But we're gonna figure it out. And it was mentioned in the statement, our corporate partners have been awesome. And it's one of the things, we have this hurricane, we lose the Trop, the roof flies off, and you wonder what the response is going to be from the fans and from our corporate partners. And it has been so heartwarming to see they have doubled down their support. And when you have the support of the business community, it makes everything so much easier, and it makes me even more confident that we're going to figure something out.
You mentioned a couple of times in this interview about maybe that stadium could be on the Tampa side. You've certainly explored that avenue before. Will you explore that again?
I think we will, because we have to look at all possibilities within our region to figure out an answer. We haven't had any conversations with anyone on the Tampa Hillsborough side. We can't until after March 31st. But I think we just need a few weeks to take a breath as a community and to get back into the swing of baseball. I mean, I'd much rather be talking here about Junior Caminero and Shane McClanahan and Brandon Lau than about construction costs and insurance costs. So let's flip that conversation. Let's get back into the swing of the baseball season and then resume the conversations and figure something out.
You're confident that the St. Pete City Council will approve the repairs for the Trop and that you'll be back in the Trop in 2026?
I am. And I've heard nothing to the contrary. I saw the press conference this afternoon, and Rob Gertis mentioned that they have a schedule that gets us back for opening day 2026, and that is music to our ears. We've been working very closely with the city and with Major League Baseball to help out with the selection of the roof material and to go through and make sure that we all agree on the scope of those repairs, and that when Tropicana Field is back ready, it looks just like it did before, maybe even better. And we're going to have a home field at least for the next 3 seasons starting in 2020.
Talk, and I'm sure you're right there in the middle of it. I've heard it for the last couple of years that, different investor groups have been talking to Stu Sternberg maybe about buying into the team, if not buying them. And like all these investor groups are now coming out of the woodwork expressing an interest to buy the team outright. What can you tell me about that? Is that legitimate?
Well, the team's not for sale. There have been plenty of people interested in buying the team going back more than a decade. A lot of that interest has been from within Tampa Bay. Some of it has been from other markets, and it makes a lot of sense. The Rays are a great asset. Tampa Bay is a great region. We have a strong organization. We have a great farm system. We have a great product on the field. And these rumors are going to exist until there's a resolution with the stadium. And our job as an organization is to block out that noise as much as possible, because we have a season to get ready for. We have to help the city of St. Petersburg fix up Tropicana Field for next year. And soon we're going to have a ballpark effort to fire back up.
Hey, but what is Stu's mindset right now? Is he bitter? Is he disappointed? Is he angry? Is he hopeful? What's he thinking?
I like that you mentioned hopeful, because he's always a hopeful guy. And he's the kind of guy who believes that when one door closes, another one opens, and that we're going to figure this out. And Stu, he's all about baseball. He's all about winning games. He's all about smiles on kids' faces. He's about what baseball can mean for a community. And it's pretty simple. At its core, baseball is a great game, and it's great for the community. And that's where his heart is. He wants to watch the baseball team win. He wants to see us go to the World Series, win a World Series, and contribute to the pride of Tampa Bay. And so I think he is hopeful that we're going to figure this out, but it's certainly it's been a challenging time for our organization. And I think once we get back on the field, a lot of this will fall away, and we'll be able to focus on the positives and use that as a springboard for better conversations.
Are you maybe just a little hesitant that if you decide to re-engage with the Pinellas County officials on a new stadium deal, that maybe the amount of public money that you were slated to get on this deal probably won't be there on any future deals?
I'm not thinking about any of those conversations right now. I think the most important thing for us to do right now as an organization is to build back the trust and the confidence with the public officials. We had it. We had so much momentum last summer, and it went away. But it can be restored, and we've already started that process even prior to today with individual conversations and stronger relationships. And if we can build back up that trust, that community trust, that's the foundation for figuring something out.
Well, I hope so, because the community trust part might be a challenge for you guys based on Mayor Welch's comments and what some other people are saying. So I just want the best for you guys, and I want something to materialize. I know you're tired of talking about it. I'm tired of talking about it. And like yourself, I would rather be talking about Junior Caminero, McClanahan, and Brandon Lau and Ha-Sung Kim whenever he gets back healthy. But you do understand the enormity and the gravity of this situation as well. You do know that a lot of people are upset, man.
Oh, yes. And look, a lot of our employees are upset. We had a staff meeting today to talk through all of this. And I understand it, because we all thought that we had a project that was going to go forward. And, it's unfortunate that, that hurricanes were what started the avalanche of events that led to this. So we recognize that there's frustration and there's some anger, and it's our job to figure something out so that a few years from now, some of that emotion will be it'll be a distant memory, and we'll be celebrating what is a great ballpark for our community.
I sure hope so, Matt. I really appreciate a few minutes of your time. Thanks for joining us. I can't wait to talk about baseball, and I can't wait to see what the next chapter brings. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. Thanks.
You got it. That's